so far in. I hope you can feel it, guys.
I just pulled out.
What a weekend, huh?
Hey, anything exciting happen with your weekend, guys?
No.
Can you tell how I look?
You hear any interesting Fury news? We got a lot to recap. We got a big show.
Is it just me, or are we still talking about this weekend?
Seems that way.
CJ Vergara.
CJ.
Hell yeah.
Hey, shout out CJ Vergara.
Come back of the year. Go ahead
was
and
amazing.
run it.
Yeah, man.
That was amazing.
Howler if
That
it was serving.
that was. Hey, shout out to
I
Howler
need
Head
some
Whiskey,
Howler Head
the
in my life. This
official
fine
whiskey
morning.
Look at
of
that
Fury
whiskey.
Fighting Championships.
They got like different bottles, huh? That's like the
Yeah.
which bottle is that?
This is.
The
I don't know.
rectangular.
They send us that sometimes. Sometimes they get that round bottle.
I think I like the rounder one.
I know you.
I like this square shit. It's
you
easier
do.
to grip.
Yeah,
You would
Rich
like
likes
a round
to,
one.
Rich likes to put square shit up there.
He likes. He Eric likes the big bottles. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Thick
Rich likes the little ones. Matches
MC
package.
MC Thickums. Listen, everything looks big when something else is little. You know. All right, so-
Woo! Shout out to Diego Reyes,
Woo!
who couldn't be with us today, so we're winging it. Only,
All
only
right.
3 of the 4 horsemen today.
R.I.P.
Diego didn't get out the massage.
Is he?
Eric,
What?
Eric didn't even catch that. Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Diego.
Diego.
His
6 feet.
his-
He's
his
6
lady-
feet deep under some Jack Shack.
His lady
Yeah.
found him at Jing Jing's and
and he couldn't get out of there. He couldn't
He's
get out.
out protecting the city today.
ran out covered in
be with
lotion.
us.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
Forgive me, babe.
As soon as he posts
Forgive
bail,
me.
he'll be here. I think. You know?
Yeah. Forgive me.
So, hey,
Huge double shot weekend.
crazy weekend. So we had Fury FC 76 in San Antonio on Friday. We had UFC Fight Night 43, I think, something like that. San Antonio, full of former Fury fighters. And then Sunday, we had our third installment of the Fury Challenger Series.
A lot of fun.
Was that this was the first weekend we've done 2 events in one weekend, right?
Yeah.
This was the first time.
First
in
time we've done that.
13 years.
Yes.
Okay. Whose idea was that?
What an asshole move that was.
Hey, the worst
No, hey, I'm down to do it again, man. I like it.
I thought it was great, man.
Yeah.
The worst part is there were multiple times before this happened, this event happened, where Eric was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We're just going to do this weekend. We'll do this weekend. Because it wasn't official yet that the UFC was coming.
Right.
And then it became, so originally we had planned we are going to have the show. We'll be there the next night.
California was in the mix.
Right. And then we didn't do the California show. This one came up about, and it was still, they announced it, and we were still like, I don't know, we'll see. And then out of nowhere, Eric hits me up. He's like, hey, we have this many weeks left. Let's build a card. I look on the document.
All systems go.
To be fair, the document's already like halfway done. Whenever he messages me and he's like, hey, we're going to build a card quickly, he's usually got the majority of it done when I pop into it.
There was just so many that wanted to fight. If you look at it, it's not like we had 2 slim ass cards.
Yeah, no.
You
20 on Friday night, 17 on Sunday. Yeah.
You know,
Almost 40 fights in the span of
that's what
couple
I'm
of days.
saying. So had it been like 8 fights and 8 fights, we could have just did 1 card.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
But there would have been no way. What was I supposed to tell the guys? Hey man, we're gonna bump this card to another week, or
Yeah.
and technically we could have bumped it to this coming weekend. We don't have anything,
No.
but
also, it's
a good look.
nice. It's nice
got
to
the
have-
Astros Sunday, man. What are you talking about? You couldn't have bumped it to this week.
This weekend does give us a little bit of a break before what we've got 6, 7, 8, like 8 weeks in a row.
We've got another solid run coming up.
big run coming.
Fury
up,
FC
man.
coming your way.
Yeah.
What was cool about Friday night though is I don't think Sean Shelby's ever been at a show.
Yeah,
no,
that was his first
You know,
time. Yeah,
we're
his first
we're
time.
pretty spoiled in that we have Mick Maynard at most of our Houston shows, and he goes to some of the other shows as well sometimes. But the majority of our Houston shows, we have Mick there. But it's not very often we have Sean, and having Sean Shelby come in was really cool. You know,
thought
like
so too,
yeah, like me and you met him outside. We walked inside with him, and I think people forget, and fighters sometimes forget, like they're just guys. Like everyone.
Well, the cool thing about them is that like Mick and Sean are a big deal. Like they're really a big deal.
Yeah.
But
They're so unassuming,
Yes,
though. They're so
man.
low
They're
key.
so low-key,
They
down
would
to
rather you
earth.
not know that and just lay low.
That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
You'd never know that Mick was, a tranny. Like you would never know that. But like knowing him the way we do, What is that?
Yeah.
Is that not common knowledge?
Listen, I don't
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about.
I
I don't
mean-
talk about my friends like that.
Yeah.
Right. That's
I
why-
don't talk about my friends.
That's
like
why
that.
we're talking about Mick. So
I thought you
Shout
said
out-
it was Andy.
shout out to
I
the
thought you said it was
dingo.
Andy that was. No, it's Mick.
Andy? Oh no, she's a ghoul.
Oh,
a
yeah.
ghoul.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
A ghoul. Why are you putting your head down?
We love Mick and Andy.
Shout out to the dingo and his pet. Love those two guys. The yeah, it was awesome to have Sean there. He got to see some fun fights. And outside of the end of the night, which we'll get to in a couple minutes,
Do we have to?
the fight card itself was awesome.
Solid.
That was our biggest card as far as fights on Fight Pass. We had 10
Yeah.
fights on Fight Pass.
I think when we did looking for a fight, Houston, we had 10,
did we?
and
It all blurs together.
and they were just remember when we did that, and they were just going boom, boom,
Right.
boom.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
back
may
to
have.
back
Yeah,
to back.
I remember.
And I was
that.
like, man, we have 10, and Dana's still not here, and it's the last 4 fights.
yeah.
That was the night that Colton England told Dana White, "Oh, hey man, you missed my fight," and Dana White looked at him like, "And dude,
I'll hear about if it was worth watching.
Is that
I'll hear
all?
about it.
Yeah. So it was a fun night. Started off strong with some knockouts right off the bat. A couple upsets. And it was a fun card from the get go, man. Some of the performances, Junior Cortez knocking out Elijah Smith.
That was a huge step up for Elijah.
It was
He was 2-0,
yeah 2-0
Versus
going
6-2.
against 6-2, and a guy who'd fought on Contenders as well.
but we couldn't get anybody to fight Elijah. I pitched him to multiple guys. I'm not fighting that guy. It was a big step up. Shout out to Elijah. I think he's gonna learn a lot. I saw he was back on the mats last night posting. This gonna make me better than ever.
It's weird.
Can't wait to see what that kid comes back as.
It's weird. Sometimes this makes our job a little easier when guys see someone get finished.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little easier to match Elijah, but he's not that he's any easier of a matchup. Like he's one of the top 35 prospects still in the nation. Ricky Romo was defeated by Nick Whitehead. Man, Nick Whitehead's grappling looked on point.
Dude, that dude has an endless gas tank. I didn't think the fight was gonna go that way.
Neither did I.
Not to say that I thought Ricky was going to win, but if he wasn't going to win, I didn't think he was going to get dominated.
I
Like
did.
that.
I definitely, with Ricky's experience, I thought he would control the fight more.
Okay.
At no point did he control that fight.
Dude, Nick didn't skip a beat, never slowed down.
he rebounded well from his debut loss, 2 in a row now, right?
Who?
Nick Whitehead.
Whitehead?
Yeah, nasty Nick.
Yeah, 1-1. Now he's 2-1.
Oh, yeah, his debut.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's his second fight with us, though. He had just,
Right.
yeah.
So now
he
you
rebounded really well.
you move on to maybe the next big thing in Texas. Zach Reese with another
Holy
first
shit.
round
Wow.
finish.
Yeah.
Hey, check out you see that tattoo he got?
Yeah, that's badass.
He went and cashed in, got a little leg piece.
Shout
done.
out,
Yeah.
shout out to Kimura
I saw
Tattoo
that.
Company. Our guys, Ronnie Byerly out there, an amazing sponsor, handing out tattoo gift cards for performances of the night. And Mr. Zach Reese have already got 2 of those bad boys. Got him a big old leg piece. That's a big old honking tattoo and a big ass leg.
Hey, Zach is a fucking problem, man. At 185 pounds, Zach is a problem.
Yeah, for anybody and
For
everybody.
anybody. Okay, let's say this. Let's say we skip back to Contender Series last year and they call us for somebody for Bo Nickel and you put Zach Reese in there. How does that go down?
I'm not sure that Bo Nickel can. No, listen, can he take Zach Reese down? Probably. Zach Reese is just as big. Just
Dude,
as
I will
physical.
put Zach Reese with anybody right now
Yeah.
at 85.
Yeah,
Like,
Zach.
I'm
Zach
I'd pay
eyes
to see
high
it.
on that kid.
that dude is.
I
a
cannot wait. He's
monster.
That fucker's gonna make us proud this year.
I think there's 3, maybe 4 top flight 185ers in the nation, and Zach Reese is one of them.
Yep.
With his performance the other night too, Lawan Davis is not a joke for anybody.
No, he's
he's
not.
just as big, just as tall, very technical. And there's a few other guys. I'm waiting for the contract.
I would
to come
love
by.
to make that fight.
That's another great fight to have on there as well. But
Lawan's I think 20 or something. 21.
it's insane. These guys, man.
20 years
So,
old.
hey,
Super nice kid.
shout out to Zach Reese, another first round finish. Congratulations, man. John Giannis and Casey Jones. I don't know if I agree with this decision. And I am a massive John Giannis fan. I felt like Casey Jones outworked him. I just felt like he did more. Maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe when,
I'd
when
have
you
to go
guys
back.
saw it, you
I
guys saw something different.
Listen, I didn't go back and rewatch this show.
Yeah,
And normally I do.
And I never do, and I didn't. Do it either.
I always do, and I just I don't know. After
Now,
the
they're
end of the
they're
night,
live in the arena watching it. I felt like it could have gone either way, but John, I could see it that way, but definitely not to disagree with you because Casey, he put on an impressive showing for himself,
So I've watched the full card twice now.
and I'm a huge Casey Jones fan.
And both times I watched it, and I will watch it with the sound off the second time, generally because I want to see if I was wrong.
Yeah.
I still think Casey Jones did enough to win that fight.
Yeah.
Super close decision though. You're not necessarily wrong picking Giannis, just my opinion. I thought Casey Jones did enough.
Did you think Cheeto Vera won the fight?
No.
Somebody did.
Joel Ojeda did. Shout out to the bearded ref. Got a lot of love for Joel, but yeah. Just a bit outside.
Hey, listen, I love Cheeto, man, but what's fair is fair. Cheeto's my friend. Like,
He's
he's a good dude.
solid
I've been
guy.
around him. He's an iridium guy.
It wasn't his best performance.
No, it wasn't. I feel like he just couldn't get started.
Yeah.
And he said that.
And against a guy like Sandhagen who comes out,
He looked good.
like he's ready to go the moment it goes off. It's hard to be a slow starter against a guy like him. Up next, we had in my opinion, I think this was an upset. Dimitri Ivey was knocked out by Carl.
I would
Minas.
agree. Yeah.
Bro, it was like a little.
Who saw that coming?
Knockout of the night.
Listen, like Carl Minas has credentials.
For
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
And I mean no disrespect to Carl whenever I say that I'm shocked that, he knocked out Dimitri Ivey. I've never seen Dimitri get knocked out.
I mean, we had, and maybe we were wrong for this, but we already had Dimitri in a main event spot had he won that fight.
We did.
He was going to fight on the April 23rd and main event that card.
He's been in some tough spots and he's always managed to work his way out of them. So I mean, to see him get knocked out like that was a huge shock.
I watched some of Carl's old fights and stuff before we made this fight. I didn't know him personally, but dude, I'm a fan now.
Yeah, same.
Like,
same. I mean, you
The
kind
dude
of
had a great personality
on the map here.
Yeah.
Great personality. He's the first guy to knock out Dimitri Ivey. Dimitri Ivey's been submitted a few
Can't wait
times.
to see him. I offered him a fight. Andrew says he's coming over some injury, like a shoulder injury, Andrew Craig. But I can't wait to get him back. man.
He was super fun to have on the card, easy to work with, spoke really well.
Yep.
The excitement when he picked up that private label bag,
Yeah.
man. Like that guy's a character. That was fun.
Got a lot of personality. I look forward to seeing him back in the cage.
Marcelo Rojo defeated Angel Cruz TKO. That was a fun fight too. It was a short fight,
Yeah.
but those,
Back
they
and
got
forth.
after it, man. They got after it. And what about the celebration from Rojo? I don't think I've seen the
never seen the
Spider-Man
the
on the
Spider
fence.
Monkey thing or whatever he did on the
I've
cage.
never seen
Hey,
that. Right in front of me and you.
Yeah. He was at the he was
nuts
at that
in your
spot,
face right here.
Puro Sabroso Cantina,
Yeah.
whatever. He stopped in there and we were bullshitting. And there was this pole kind of. I was like, "Hey man, you think you could hit that on that pole?" He's like, "Shit!" And he went over there and he did it like in the middle of the bar. He's like hanging out. I was like, "Dude, I admire your
hilarious.
core strength. That's very
hilarious.
impressive." Yeah, it was very funny. Very.
He gave me a
hilarious.
really cool
Shout out to
hat
Marcelo
with a little
Rojo.
pit bull on it, and like a cool ass T-shirt.
Oh, did you get a hat? Already?
I didn't get a hat
That's
or a
cool.
T-shirt. I got none of that shit. man.
Thanks, Rojo.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, shout out to whoever stole my Brandon Moreno gear. After the fight.
Oh wow.
Did you hear about this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, man. I had him autograph a jacket and a fight kit shirt and put it in my backpack. And it was right there by the cage, by my table. And after the fight, I had to go into the office for the venue to do a settlement and stuff. So I pulled everything out and pulled out my books and stuff. And I handed it to Tara. And I said, here, hang on to my stuff. I'll be back. And she swore she put it in a bag. And I don't know what happened. from there. Nobody was drinking.
I would look at that guy. What's his name? Mark Finley. he was a huge fan. He was getting a lot of stuff signed, man. I would check his eBay.
Yeah, so I called the venue this morning. They said that they got cameras all in there.
Bam.
I said, "Can you rewind? Let me see. Show me something." So they're gonna try and figure it out.
Yeah, that's cool.
All good. I called Jason. He said he'll give me some more shit though.
Up next, we had Luan Davis, I guess, upsetting Zach Borrego in his hometown to remain undefeated. But man, Luan looked good.
He's a big dude.
Hands were on. I did not realize he was that big. I'd seen
tall
him
dude,
before.
man.
Very tall, very long. A guy who, like you said, who probably matches up very well with somebody like Zach Reese.
I was
as far as size,
just thinking that.
probably one of the few people. Size
I just feel like I don't know. Zach's just a big dude, man. Like I don't know if that's a good fight right now. For
Maybe not
Lawan.
next,
I don't know
but
if
I
that's a
mean
good
down the
fight for
road
him.
that'd be a
And
great fight
Lawan's
to
so
see.
young too. Like I think there's other guys.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm not sure Zach Reese is a good fight for anyone.
No,
True.
dude, I would put Zach Reese up to represent Fury FC at 185 against anybody outside of the UFC right now, and probably some
A
of the
lot of the UFC guys.
Yeah, within the
as well.
UFC as well.
but 100% for sure anybody outside of the UFC.
Up next, we had Nico Echeverry taking the decision loss against Tedrick Macklin in not an exciting fight. I mean,
Dude, I was not expecting that.
Really,
Well,
I mean, you know,
that's not what we. I don't know.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
Nico
I'll say
should have
this.
came out throwing.
I think the
I felt like
That's what I wanted
He
him
would
to
try
do. That's
early
what I talked to
in
him
the
about.
round, and then he would resort to the shoot and the takedown.
I think even
taking the ground.
even with Nico not standing and just banging with Tedrick Macklin, I'm not necessarily sure he lost this fight. Like I want to say, Macklin
A lot
was
of
only
people
on
felt it
his
was a
feet.
controversial decision.
Macklin was only on his feet for a little while. Now Macklin did damage. Right, every time Macklin was on his feet, he touched Nico.
Yeah.
Again, the judging in Texas, while as terrible as it can be, they have made a definite push in the last year to that if you are a wrestler who just takes somebody down and then doesn't do anything with it, they're not giving you much credit
No,
for it.
no.
We've seen multiple times lately where someone
They're looking for
dominates.
damage. That's like
Yeah.
their first criteria is damage.
Somebody's dominating in wrestling, but they don't really do much with it. Even you get a submission attempt, but getting your head underneath somebody's armpit isn't necessarily a setup for an arm triangle.
Yep, and holding them down and pinning them down. I mean, there's pictures of Tedrick Macklin where
Yeah.
he's like looking at the camera while he's like, "What do you want me to do?"
It's
I mean, he wasn't ever really in any danger.
It's hard because Nico's style of fighting right now is not the most entertaining, and it's not he is the great personality.
Oh
he
yeah,
has a
dude,
great
I love
look.
Nico.
Me too.
But I think when you look at Nico, like unless he gets back to the guy who was head kicking Steve Jones,
That's the Nico I want.
Yeah,
unless he gets back to that guy, I'm not sure if the future holds a lot for him outside of maybe going to like a PFL or a Bellator or something like that.
I think he would do really well in Bellator.
I think he would
I think
as
he
well.
would, and he would make some decent money.
Yeah.
I mean, but
And again, that's not to say, look, everyone at Fury, everyone in Texas and Houston, everyone loves Nico. Like everyone, he's our
100%,
former champion, great guy, love his team. But unless something changes for him and something clicks mentally for him to be able to stand there, let his hands go, and believe in what he can do, we've all seen Nico knock people out. He's got the power.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He's got
Yeah.
the chin. I don't know what's not clicking for him right now. And I hope he's able to find that before he gets too far down the rabbit hole of guys like Sean Shelby just not being interested in a wrestler who's just going to lay on top of somebody.
I mean, Sean was there,
Yeah.
and I don't.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The UFC social media rep was there
Yeah.
and left during that fight.
Yeah.
Now, whatever reason he left for, but it wasn't
might have
entertaining
not
enough
been for that, but
it
yeah.
wasn't entertaining enough for him to
stick
stand up
around.
and pull his camera out and do something. And that's not a shot at Nico, a shot at his team. That's just reality. That's just
That's
what,
anybody.
That's what
Anybody
happened.
who
It
does
could have been
that.
anybody,
It
but
could've been
that
anybody.
was the moment. That's what he saw. And
I
again,
mean, we'll get to Sunday's card, but we saw that in some of the.
yeah. Again,
Sunday,
I
man.
hope that Nico gets back to the guy that we all loved and enjoyed watching him finish people. Armis Guyton did not fare very well against Isaac Moreno. Aramis
Yeah,
Guyton.
I stood corrected.
So we spoke all week, Eric, when we were talking about the fighters as we're getting ready. We're talking with the UFC about potential guys. Moreno needed a finish, had to finish this,
He got it.
and damn, did he finish!
He
this.
got it.
His hands looked on point. And I don't want to say it's the first time, but maybe it was the first time I noticed him just standing in the pocket as much. Like he stood right there in front of Aramis and swung with him every time.
Let him
And
fly.
Clearly the speed and the power and the technique laid on the side of Isaac Moreno. And that fight could have been stopped a little bit earlier a couple of times too. Aramis was flat on the ground multiple times.
yeah,
But shout out to Aramis, game fighter, always shows up.
yeah, man, he's tough as nails too.
Yeah, for sure. But now, if you're Isaac Moreno's 5-0,
5-0 now.
5-0. He's got 2 finishes out of his 5 victories. That's a much better look than a bunch of decisions together. And I'd be shocked if he's not picked up for Contenders.
He really wants to fight Basil, man. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Jason messaged me last night and said,
I'd like to see
Isaac
it.
really wants to.
But I understand your reluctance.
It just, I mean,
But it also goes against
What we
we've
stand for, yeah.
what we've established
Yeah.
that our champions need to be.
Around 10.
Yeah, they need to be
around 10
closer-
fights.
closer to
I'm
10.
even cool with like 8 fights.
But also, our job is to not create champions. That's not our job. Our job is to create legitimate fighters for the UFC, and for us just to turn and give Isaac a title shot at 5 wins.
Yeah.
It does more damage if I'm not saying you can't beat Basel. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, don't
But-
get me wrong. The dude's a stone cold
Yeah,
killer,
he'd probably
man.
go out. Who knows? But
It'd be a hell of a fight.
But to go out there and miss an opportunity to go to Contenders or miss an opportunity to get called up to take a title shot for us.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Like
For me, somebody like Levon Lewis makes more sense.
yeah.
For Isaac Moreno, the one that Jacoby Smith just fought. Like Jacoby and Isaac would be a good fight.
Yeah.
That'd be a great
That'd be a
fight. But I
banger.
mean, we're probably not going to make that. Even somebody like Derek Adjade and Isaac Moreno,
Yeah.
we could make.
And again,
There's fights for
You know,
it.
sometimes
Yeah.
people see our
Oh, you're not
fighters,
drinking this Coke? Okay.
and they may see a 2-0 versus a 3-0,
want
and they're
this?
like, "Why don't you get these guys together?" Again, we are building prospects. It's not just about running the top guys together all the time. Because I can tell you, if you look back at Paris Moran and Josh Van, we did not want to make that fight.
Josh Van made
Because
that
of,
fight
yeah,
happen.
because of the fact that we wanted both of them to go.
Right.
But it is what it is. We'll see how that plays out. I'm sure we'll talk about that more this week. But congratulations to Isaac Moreno, looking great in his hometown. No, is that San Antonio's hometown? No, he's from
He's
further
from down
south,
south.
right? He
yeah.
brought people like
the
it's his hometown.
RGV,
He does.
Los
Yeah, he
Fresnos,
does.
Texas.
Yeah, he's from down south.
Yeah, he
to
does.
be
And
exact, yeah.
listen, I don't mean this to come off in a Maynard way. But that dude's very photogenic. Like every
Isaac.
time you take a picture of that dude, he's a good
Yeah.
looking dude. That's a man dime
Yeah,
running around.
he's
punching.
going to look great on a UFC poster.
That's why I got. That's why I got Jesse James. Right?
You're right. You're right.
You got
Just-
UFC
Yeah, I've
fighters on him.
got quad envy whenever I see Isaac Moreno.
You know, most fighters at the end, before they make the announcement, you generally have an idea of who won, especially in a situation like that. He won.
Right.
So before I hop down, I'm always like, "Hey, fighter, blah blah blah." Turn around, and everyone puts their hands up, and they're kind of gritty. And every picture I've taken of Isaac like that looks like it's a fucking headshot. Like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Calvin Klein.
And I'm like, all right, my guy, just leave some for the rest of everybody else. So our main event. Let's go here. So
What was the main event? What happened?
in our main event, Edgar Chairez. Is it Chairez?
It's Chairez.
Did anybody confirm?
Whatever
Chairez.
Wayne says, I.
What is
Chairez.
it?
There's an I right in the middle of it, and I spoke to Brandon Moreno's wife, and it's Chairez. Chairez. So
I can't say it like that.
I know.
I can't. I'm gonna
But
Chairez.
Chairez.
Yeah.
Chairez, if you have to, but it's definitely not Chairez, which is why I was kind of scrambling. I didn't want to
So-
mispronounce the guy's name. And then, which is ironic, because at the very end, I completely did not say his name at all. Well, hey, that one's on me. That fuck up's on me. We'll talk about the fight
Now
in a
listen,
second.
you don't make too many mistakes.
I don't.
But how's
And
that feel when you
that
really
one's
do?
it fucking sucks. I will say I go to the state table for every decision, and in the winner's box they had Gianni's. I should have fucking seen it and known that
Yeah.
it was a mistake. Whatever. But in the heat of the moment with everything that was happening,
Right.
which we're about to get to. My mind was not there, so I just boom. There's a time submission, and there's the name. I just checked the name, and went not putting together who was in what position given the circumstances. So, but definitely on me. But I had a little bit of help.
So this fight played out the exact way I thought it would, except for the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
Chairez is a fast starter. All of his wins have come in 7 of his wins have come in the first round. He gets after people right away. Gianni Vasquez took that role from him, and from the start of the fight, his speed, his power,
man.
I was shocked.
He was on it.
man.
He looked perfect. His game plan was
on it.
perfect for it. Every time that Chairez threw a couple of jumping knees, and which he's known for, those jumping knees.
Johnny was firing.
Johnny was firing at him every time, and it was a beautiful fight back and forth. You know, not to, I mean, Edgar had some moments where he shined crazy body kicks.
Yeah.
Like his body work is beautiful.
That was a great main event. Like,
And
the
he's got a
matchup was
lot
great.
of, I hadn't noticed it as much. He's got a lot of Moreno in him. Like if you watch how he holds his hands before he punches,
Yep.
a lot of Moreno in him. And it clearly super entertaining fight, two high level guys. And it was marred at the end. The end of the fight, if you're listening to the show, it's highly unlikely that you haven't seen this. But Edgar has Johnny in a triangle, and Johnny goes out. Johnny goes out to the point to where that his body falls backwards over completely onto his back with his legs straight forward, his arm that's not trapped in the triangle off to the side, and he is completely 100% out.
Not trying to defend the armbar at all.
Yeah, the deep breathing has started. Edgar at this point switches to a vicious armbar, and there is no physical response from Gianni, and there isn't a, let alone a black belt, there isn't a blue belt in jiu-jitsu that would let you armbar them with no physical response.
Lay on their back, yeah.
to defend it. And
I don't know if there's a white belt that would let you do that. I mean,
so armbar happens, and this is where the craziness ensues. So at this point, Gianni goes out, and the referee, Frank, is standing right above them. Frank's in the right spot. He's
during the armbar.
During the triangle.
Even during
Well,
the
he
triangle.
was, yeah, well,
During
what
the
I'm-
triangle, he was
Gianni was
right
out
there.
during the
Right.
triangle.
Yes.
Right.
So it's
Certainly
almost
appeared
like
that way. It certainly appeared
when
that
Edgar
way.
switches to the armbar, Gianni's on his back.
Right.
Falls to his back.
Right.
Once he lets the triangle go, then he falls to his
So
back.
he
Whenever
goes-
the triangle was on, dude, that's whenever we were all kind of going
We were
ape
already going
shit at
crazy.
So
K-side,
during
slapping
during
mat
the
and stuff.
triangle,
Yeah.
you know, Eric, Wayne, everybody.
We were all
had the
screaming, "He's out,"
unfortunate help of, you know, I'm standing on a pedestal looking down in the cage. I'm closer than everyone. Not
You'll
named,
see a video post up here in a minute.
Not named
but-
the ref. I'm closer than everyone.
Right.
And I can see the breathing starting,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, he's out.
Morono was calling it on commentary.
Alex calls it, then Alex stops and goes, wait, his hands are moving.
Yeah.
There's no telling why his hands are moving, but listen, then Alex goes straight back to, oh no, he's out.
He's
Out.
breathing, yeah.
Brandon Moreno is standing behind Eric, and he starts going nuts.
Yeah, he's losing his
Then I
mind.
stand up and I'm like, holy shit, he is out.
Eric stands up.
He's out.
Eric's yelling, he's out.
Eric took off to go run over to the state table.
I can see the doctor standing next to the commissioner next to him, who the commissioner representative who was next to,
right.
saying, stop the fight. Stop the
The
fight.
doctor saying
the
this?
The doctor is saying, stop
Yeah.
the fight.
Dr. Choppa.
Yeah. And during all this time, Frank
is zoned in. He's not.
is zoned
He's not
in.
looking at nobody.
He's not
He's
looking at
listening
anybody.
to anybody.
He's ignoring everything.
He's
focusing on.
He's trying to do his
yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And listen, I want to make sure this is very, very clear before I say this next part. Frank has refereed hundreds of fights and has never made a mistake of this nature.
He's a great ref and a better man.
At no point, at any time, and I can tell you when Eric gets the referee sheets 24 hours before the fights, we look at those sheets, and there's been many times where we have went, oh shit, I don't want this guy reffing.
I mean, it goes to the point where I'll even say, man, like if y'all are
Right.
going to select these guys to ref, please don't let these guys do the co-main and main.
At no point has that ever been stated about Frank. Frank is always a solid referee and a good guy. He's a
Yeah.
great guy. But that does not take away from the fact that he failed at his job.
He made a mistake.
And that job is to protect the fighter.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And so now you've got Gianni's corner saying they're trying to stop the fight and the inspector's ignoring them. These are his words. I can't verify that.
Yeah,
from
all I
him.
know what was going on is what was going on right in front of
Right
me
in front of us. Yeah.
and who was right here and behind me.
And so eventually, as he's being armbarred with no response, you see Gianni somewhat move his arm over one time, and then he moves over again, like he's maybe trying to grab his arm.
Starting to wake up, stomps his foot.
He stomps his foot a little bit, but then his foot goes right back flat again after he stomped
I
it.
thought his legs were convulsing real time.
It could be.
I thought that he was twitching or something.
But number one, man, you
Like
went out and
involuntarily.
you wake up to being in an armbar. Like
A deep arm
have
bar.
Have you ever been put to sleep like that?
Not like that, no.
Wait, it's like I've been put to sleep.
Yeah, other ways,
You've
not
been-
like that.
You've been put to sleep.
Not a
right?
triangle.
So like when you wake
Rear
up,
naked, not a triangle.
when you
You're
wake
more
up,
like what happened.
yeah, you're not really there. You're like what?
Like,
What,
what
just
happened?
So
Yeah.
to wake up and be in extreme pain.
in a fully locked out
It's almost,
armbar?
dude. It's almost like probably being in surgery and the.
Yeah.
You wake up
And
in
now
the middle of
imagine
surgery.
this.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Dude.
You've got all that going on. You wake up and you're staring at the house lights above you.
Damn, I'm in a fight.
You're in a yes. Like
Oh, here's where I
everything
am.
could possibly be wrong.
Yeah.
And at that point is when Frank mercifully stopped the fight.
Yeah, Gianni finally tapped.
A tragic situation
Yeah.
that we saw. I don't know. Do you have an update to the extent of any injury or anything like that as far as Gianni?
I talked to him yesterday and he told me he was going to have an MRI today. He was having an MRI today.
Did he go to the ER?
He did.
Okay,
He
I
went
saw
straight.
something
He went
online.
straight to the ER. The ambulance took him straight to the ER after this.
I saw something online where they said that the ER said that there's potentially a couple of fractures, and wouldn't they be able to determine that at the ER with some X-rays? I would imagine. Like we
It would-
should know by now whether there were
I guess
fractures or
it would
not.
depend on. I mean, I'm sure there's
ligament damage. I mean, for sure we got to get an MRI.
Yeah.
So all this is going on. I walk into the cage. Eric's in the cage.
Frank is the first person I went to
So
when I went in there.
I'll
Whenever
tell
I
you
was
what-
getting the decision at cage side, whenever I was over there, checking the wrong name on my card, Frank was over there talking to the state representative, and he said he wasn't out.
That's what he told
Yeah,
me.
He wasn't out.
That's the first thing I did. I
And watching the video back, whenever Gianni rolls over onto his back and he's in that armbar, it looks to me like his mouth is moving.
so one of the
And
issues.
I'll show you the video on the phone later,
that-
what I see, and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, it looks like Gianni's mouth is moving like he's talking, like he's
but I went.
communicating.
I walk in the. You can see me run up in the video, and I like leave the
Yeah.
table and I run around. I go in there, and I said, Frank, what the fuck was that? Like, was he asleep? He's like, no, he wasn't out. I was watching him the whole time. He wasn't out.
So Frank said his eyes were open.
That shit don't matter.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's what I was
That
thinking.
shit
Like the
don't
only
matter.
thing
That does
that
not matter.
could maybe why Frank would think that the guy wasn't out
Oh,
is his
man.
eyes were open, but it doesn't matter though. I mean, he could have gone out with his eyes open. You got
Dimitri Ivy's eyes
if he
were
would have
open.
checked his arm, if
When
he'd
he
have just
got
checked his
cracked.
arm one time, that
That's
would
what
have
I was waiting
alleviated
for,
the
man.
whole situation.
Lift that arm,
So-
man.
But it's
So-
easy to say that in hindsight.
Now that happened. I'm more upset at this point with some of the things that's happened since then. So we released a statement that night.
right?
First, let me remind you, because there's a few articles I've seen that have say literally that we distance ourselves from some things. Well, no, we released our statement first. This is our exact statement. It is the referee's job to protect the fighter when the fighter cannot protect him or herself. In last night's main event, the referee failed to do this. While the job of a referee is one of the hardest to do in this sport, the need for proper and continued training would help to alleviate things like this incident. We do not hire, train, or select refs for our shows, but we'd be more than willing to lead a revamp and overhaul of the reffing and judging, selection, and training process. The statement from TDLR goes as follows. TDLR is aware of concerns about the officiating one of last night's fights. All TDLR officials receive ongoing training, and we monitor each fight for consistency in officiating. Fight officials for each competition are always selected in conjunction with promoters. There are two false statements there from TDLR. Let's talk about the first one. TDLR officials receive ongoing training. That was a false statement. I have verified that myself with multiple people.
You talked to some of the refs.
With multiple people. I don't want to point anybody out.
Right, right.
Well, I mean,
I've
with
talked-
multiple officials
right,
who are in
yes,
that position to
yes.
be able to confirm or deny.
I have talked to
Okay.
multiple people.
We don't have to say names.
about
but-
the exact process. I understand the hiring process. My questioning was to the ongoing training. So there is no mandatory training for referees. It's not a mandatory thing. There is available training, which very few people do, but there is zero mandatory training, nor is there any record of mandatory training in a sport for people who are protecting people's lives. That is garbage. That is garbage. And this is one of the things that Chris Reed was fighting for years ago to change things in this sport because of incidents like this. Do I think that having perfect training would have stopped this? No. People make mistakes. Do I think that like
It could have prevented it somewhat.
Definitely.
I'll
could've
say
prevented it,
say
though.
right now, I think Jeff Rexroad and whether you like him or you hate him, Joe Solis are two of the best,
yeah.
referees in the cage. They are black belts with experience in
Jake
combatives.
Montalvo.
Jake Montalvo,
Montalvo,
Kerry
yeah.
Hadley.
Kerry
Hadley.
There are some great referees.
And we're talking about Texas refs.
Yes,
like
Yeah.
if
each
we-
of those
Strictly Texas.
referees
Yeah.
not only still train.
Right.
I think each of them hold a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which I think is highly important.
I think so too.
And
It's important to be able to recognize
Yes.
what it looks like when somebody gets put to sleep. It's
Yeah.
also important to know how it feels
Yes.
to be in a submission and have your arm extended like that.
I do not know, nor have I asked, what Frank's jiu-jitsu experience is. I cannot speak to it, but I would hope that there is some. But if there is no
there
mandatory,
definitely is some. He used to train. I don't know if he still
yeah,
does,
if
but
there
he
is
definitely
no
is training.
mandatory continued training and these referees are not continually training and getting better, this is only going to become more of an issue as the sport grows. Now that goes to the training aspect of it. Now, when
Yeah.
they say that fight officials for each competition are selected in conjunction, are always selected in conjunction with promoters.
Yeah, that was crazy, man, when I saw that.
That's another false
Yeah,
statement.
Whenever
How
I
many-
read that, I was like, oh my God.
How many interviews have you had to do in the last 24 hours because
Four.
of this?
4 of them.
So
We might have like a voice. We can say who we want, but we don't get to pick. We don't
No.
get to pick the refs.
we don't even have that. We don't even have that. That as much as that may be.
I've specifically asked for some guys at some shows, like to and wanted to pay travel, hotel, whatever. I've
Yeah.
offered.
Yeah.
I can tell you this
And
has
they
been a
still does it. They use the locals or they use who's in rotation or whatever. I don't find out, and I made this very clear. I don't find out who's reffing my event until I'm at weigh-ins and they hand me a sheet and says, "Hey, here's the official list. This is who you're paying. This is what it is." And that's when I can say, "Man, why did I fucking get this guy?
yeah.
We've had problems with this guy. Why did I get this guy?"
Right.
Well, it's too late.
and listen. This is there is
This is what it is.
there is not another promotion in Texas who does as many shows as we do. There is not another promotion in Texas outside of the UFC that is bringing in the revenue in MMA that we do for TDLR. We are continually working with them. Eric, you're on the board. Yeah, you're part of like this committee. This is not easy for you to come out and say, "Hey, this is something that's not true," because that kind of puts you're making yourself vulnerable.
Right.
And I know that's
I mean, what's right is right, though.
Exactly.
And I'm not lying. It's not like I'm lying.
No.
So if something happens because I said the truth, I mean, what
I have heard
am I supposed to do?
I have heard
Let
the
the chips fall
BS
where they may.
about rotations since Lone Star Beatdown Legacy days.
I've talked to ex-promoters, big-time ones, and
Yeah.
I mentioned that, and they're like, "Dude, that's bullshit."
At no point have we ever had the say of, "I would like ref A, I don't want ref B." That's never happened. It's never been a possibility. And if that is a true statement that they're going to start doing that, I welcome that. I welcome the opportunity for us a week to 2 weeks out to be able to go, who are the refs working our event? No, what is this person's training? I would love to know where is this mandatory training? Where is this ongoing training? Where is the record of this training, and how is it being monitored?
I mean, if that's a true statement about picking the officials, I wonder did the UFC get notice of who was going to be officiating from Texas, their shows, judging?
Probably at
reffing?
weigh-ins.
I mean, I know they get to bring in like some of their own. Like I saw some of their guys.
Yeah.
Obviously their regulars, Herb and.
I think the hard thing is that like for promotions, and I know for us, TDLR is always going to be here. Like they are the regulatory body,
Right.
as well as they should be. There are a lot of things that they do a great job of.
Listen, I've been promoting for almost 14 years now, and I've worked with them obviously on every event. I know
How many times have you been able to pick the refs?
I know all the inspectors. I get along well with them. They know me. They know
Right.
we're on top of our shit we get the medicals done. We make sure weigh-ins are ran smoothly. We run a smooth, solid event. You know, I'm not saying that I have an issue working with TDLR. It's no knock at them, but I mean, I just don't make it look like I get to choose these refs and stuff, and saying stuff like that. It's putting me in a position to make it seem like, hey, this is something that I did.
Let's not act like the reputation for Texas MMA isn't one that's laughable when it comes to
Judges and refs and stuff.
Yeah,
I understand.
You know,
Like in the fight game, like Texas doesn't have a great rep.
right?
Like
We could be the leaders.
It's crazy because there's so much talent here.
We could be
So
the
much talent.
leaders of change in officiating, changes in referees, changing in judges, instead of basically a good old boys committee where we have judges who only know boxing judging MMA.
Dude, I had a judge one time,
I noticed that.
the boxing judge, it was a female that was judging the show, and she literally told me before the fights even started that she didn't even like MMA.
I
and
don't
it wasn't
like
a real
MMA. I remember. I
sport.
know exactly.
Boxing's
Yep,
the real
I remember.
deal.
I can tell you how many
What are you
spurs
doing
of
here?
boxing.
What are you
Terrible
doing here?
This is too much. I don't like MMA. I like boxing. I remember exactly
There's so
that,
many
that
of
moment.
those types of terrible stories. I can tell you there is a
And
judge.
I even said something that night to the lead inspector. This was years ago. I even said something last night, and they're like, "Oh well."
There's a
We don't
judge.
see that judge very often,
No, not
but we
anymore.
still see
I
that
still
judge
see it.
occasionally.
I do, yeah.
And
There is-
I've never forgotten that comment that judge made.
That's all I'll remember every time I
Like,
see her.
This judge doesn't even want to be here. Why?
There is a judge still working in Texas who has worked our shows recently, who over a decade ago tapped me on the shoulder at an event and said, "How many points do I take away for a takedown?" And I just stared at him.
Wow.
I said, "What?"
Wow,
And they are
that's the
still
first that I've heard.
still working events. Listen, this isn't something that can't be fixed. This can be fixed. And again, as we stated immediately, we would love to be a part of the process to revamp the training. And I'm not asking you to fire the refs you have. I'm not asking
No.
you to fire the judges you have. But let's get proper documented training with good professional people to help everyone and help protect the people who we're giving a platform to. It will become an issue one day at some point where, what if the UFC doesn't want to come back to Texas? Now, obviously they make so much money coming here with the big stadiums, but
It's a real
hard.
concern that you bring up, though.
It is. And, you know, again, our number one concern, not just being a coach, I care about the fighters.
Yeah, fighter safety, man.
I care about this sport. I care about this sport and the fighters more than I care about brands, more than I care about schools or anything. This sport has provided more to me in my life than I ever thought I would have, and has been a part of my life.
Mine too.
Part of my life since I walked into Bell Chase Judo at 9 years old on Schlief Street with Sensei Vernon Schlief, and walked in and got my ass thrown around at 9 years old and figured out, damn, this is awesome. And I took up wrestling, and I went on through my life, and this stupid sport that they called cockfighting and said it was garbage and was gross has made my life, has made who I am today and what I do. And all of my friends and my family are involved in this. And I only want to see the fighters protected and the sport protected. And we can do this. We can do it together. Let's not fight against each other against garbage. Sorry. So
Exclamation point.
We also had a show on Sunday.
Yeah, but I mean that. I don't know. Have you done any interviews? You're supposed to do something with shirt.
I
on
was
here
supposed
pretty
to.
soon.
I've turned down 2 of them because I knew you were doing some, and I also know that. Listen, at no point has Eric told me not to do an interview or not talk to somebody who's reached out to me. He's never coached me on what to say when it comes to protecting ourselves because he knows I care about what we're doing here. But there's been a few times I just chose not to so far. I'm waiting. Yeah, sure, dog.
It's a really fine line, you know,
It is.
because I have to be very careful on how I approach this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got to work with these guys.
And I
on a
hope-
regular
Right.
basis. And somebody asked me in one of the interviews, if I'm going to consider never doing an event in Texas again, or to do less. It's like not at all. Like,
Well, how about-
listen, I like the guys that I work with. I do. I like the
100%.
inspectors. I deal with
Yeah.
them. We work great with them.
Yeah.
You know, I like Big Greg.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
asked
yeah.
same
I mean,
thing.
they're all my friends,
And I
but
know you were asked this as well. I was asked on a live I did on Tiki Taki about would you let Frank ref again?
Yeah.
Of course. Not right now. I don't
said it's
think
too soon. I mean,
I don't
Yeah, too soon now, but
I don't think
will
it's
we
good
ever
for
let him
Frank.
ref again? I mean, yeah.
I don't think it's good for Frank right now.
well, number
either.
Yeah,
one, it's
no.
not really my decision.
Exactly.
Yeah. First and foremost.
First and foremost, it's not up to me if I will let him. I think he needs to go back
yeah,
and reevaluate
in a
himself. and everything
hypothetical
that would
scenario,
happen, you
though,
know?
would we? Sure, of course.
But I mean, the dude made a mistake. Should he be killed for it? No.
No, I mean, there are a lot of people calling for his job, calling for his head. And
that's crazy.
I kind of went into this a while back, and that portion got pulled from the podcast. But like this notion in society that whenever somebody makes a mistake, they have to pay with their job. I mean, come on, give me a break. People make mistakes, and I know that the stakes aren't any higher than in the fight game.
Listen,
So I get it, but at the same time, just because he made a mistake, he's got a great track record of, probably 10 years better of reffing fights. Should one mistake define him? No.
Had Gianni died?
Oh, god damn! I
Then it's
mean,
different.
that's a lot different.
That's
but
different.
Exactly.
But thank God he did not.
Thank God he didn't. Yes.
And this is, and I feel like the refs at the UFC and at Sunday's event were on their fucking toes. Like they were on it.
Yeah.
You know, and even a couple of the fights on the Fury card Sunday got stopped early.
Yeah.
Where they were so worried about being that guy
yeah.
Hey, look,
that
I-
fucked up. This is a learning experience for everybody, including myself. Would I do something different had I saw that happening? Maybe I would have jumped up and tried to jump in the cage or something.
Maybe
I don't
we need
know.
our own white towel at cage side to
It's
throw
just-
in or
that's-
something.
Okay, so say I would have did that and Gianni would have said, "I'm up. I'm not asleep."
Yeah,
Now I
exactly.
get blamed for stopping
Exactly.
the fucking fight.
And I'm sure
It's better safe than
I'm
sorry.
sure in that moment, how many times, Eric, I think you can speak to this more than anybody. Have we heard a fighter say, "Let me die on my shield out there. Don't call this fight early. Let me go out. Let me whatever word and verbiage they use."
Yeah. Don't stop it.
Don't stop it.
this fight.
And it
Did
is the
Giannis
main,
say something along
it
those
is
lines?
the
on
I think he
social
made a
media?
post
Yeah, he
afterwards.
did.
It is the main event.
Let me ask you this.
on UFC Fight
You
Pass.
coach guys. You had 4 guys fight, 3 guys fight
Yeah.
Sunday. If that's your guy, what do you do when you're in the corner?
If I see my guy out,
And you know he's out. In
yeah.
your mind, you know he's out.
I'm up on the cage, smacking the cage, stop the fight.
Trying to
stop
open the
fight.
door
I'm trying to
yourself.
open the door and get in.
and you think Frank sees you at that point?
He would see me.
Okay.
I would make him see me.
All right.
I don't care if I have to shove the official. If I don't care if I have to shove the inspector out of
Right.
the way. Like
At that point, that's
like,
what it is.
Right.
And I think having talked to some other coaches in town, as crippled and as short and as dwarf as he is, I think Bob Perez would have been over that cage.
I was like, here he comes. Who's he talking about?
But that's real. And this is not to knock Gianni's coach at all. Please, I hope that doesn't come
right.
across
No,
that way.
no. But
I'm
he was
just-
pretty upset
But
too.
you're telling me, yes,
But I feel like at that point, the coach is the only one who could stop the fight for his guy. And if his guy wakes up and wants to get pissed off at somebody, he gets mad at his own coach.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, you don't get mad at the promoter. You don't get mad at the ref, the ring announcer, whoever, because they stopped it early when you really weren't out.
It's a hard
Let the
situation,
coach,
man.
It's very hard.
This is again where I think this shouldn't be a crucifixion of Frank.
I think he needs to sit out and reevaluate and figure out what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think
I don't think he should lose his
I don't
job
think he should
completely.
lose his
I mean,
job.
I don't either, man.
people
No.
do make mistakes, you know, but something's got to be done, though. Like, there has to be some sort of repercussion, something.
there has to be, and I think you'll see it.
But I mean, I see people like, this dude should never ref in his life.
Yeah, how do you feel whenever you see people come online and say, "Oh yeah, Fury's doing damage control because they didn't blah blah blah"? Well, we whenever we have no control over that, it's a government entity, it's government regulated. Fury
Only the
FC
ignorant.
should have told the government that they're doing the job wrong.
You have to.
Only the ignorant don't
Yeah.
understand.
I can
man,
tell you,
know?
I'm not good at this, but we're gonna have to start getting to be. I'm not good at not reading the comments. I'm not good
I don't
at,
read none of that.
I
shit no
usually
more.
don't.
I do.
I usually don't.
I
I only
do.
saw a couple. But
I
I
do.
mean,
And
there's
I
a lot of
really don't.
ignorance.
I
out
know.
there, man.
I know.
Let me tell you this: if you weren't an organization, if you weren't in a position where we are now, and it was an organization that's non-fight pass and smaller, and this shit
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
happened, it would have.
I would never.
Nothing.
I would
Nobody
never
would've
read
known.
it. I think for all of us here, and I'm trying. I really am trying. I care so much about how we are perceived. I care so much about this brand. I care so much about where we are going and what we've invested into it so far.
We've worked hard.
That
Yeah.
I do go down that rabbit hole. I'm like, what the fuck? And I have responded. I've been like, fuck, I'll respond.
I've deleted a few
Yeah.
responses.
Hey, shout out to my man Jace Petrie, who my dude went hard on all kind of people on
Did he?
IG.
Yeah. We saw him again. We saw him again Sunday night. He's like, dude, that shit pisses me off.
Dude.
Yeah.
And
Jay, listen, me and Jay started this together in 13.
Jace was right there,
So,
sitting to my right whenever all this shit
his
was going
heart
down.
and his, he's emotionally invested
Yes,
in
he
what
is,
I do,
man.
and I love Jace. He's one of my best friends,
Yeah.
and I told him, I said, dude, don't respond to that dumb
Yeah.
shit.
It's
Like,
hard
these
not
guys
to.
are idiots, man.
I'm trying to do better about it. I will do better about it going forward. Like I listen to Joe Rogan all the time. Joe Rogan's like, I don't read the comments. I can't read the comments.
I don't read that shit.
And I
either, man.
shouldn't. I shouldn't.
I really don't
You
for
know,
the most
yeah.
part, but every now and then, like if you're scrolling Facebook, they show you like there's like one comment right there. So when you're scrolling, it's like right there, like
my-
Fury should have blah blah blah. It's like, dude,
When I told Jace
I might
that,
go all in.
I was like, man, you can't read hate shit like that. You can't care
Yeah.
about what other people think or say. I said,
Yeah.
do you know how many people probably hate me?
Oh yeah.
A ton.
Yeah. Two here.
A ton. He did make me feel good though. He was like, man, if somebody dislikes you or hates you, they got some personal issues.
It's their issue,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
man.
and I've always said that about Mick. Like, if somebody had something bad to say about Mick,
Oh yeah, for sure.
dude, how do you not like Mick?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you many reasons.
How do you not like Mick? man?
That's just 'cause
I don't,
you're
I
a
don't know a lot
bigot.
of
That's
people
why.
that don't like him, but if somebody
Yeah.
ever had a problem with him, I'd be like, man,
I
I
would-
better. Should I talk to
Yeah,
this person?
for sure.
Like,
For sure.
something's wrong with you, man.
Yeah,
Like, you
I
know
would
Mick.
look.
Yeah.
Look, I would never say this to his face, but like, I like Mick. He's a good
Yeah.
guy. You know?
He's only he can say this because Mick don't give a fuck about.
He
this
doesn't
podcast.
give two shits about this
Right.
podcast.
He ain't listening to this
No. So, all right. So that happened. We've talked about. I
Best
think,
wishes
I think
to
we-
Gianni.
I didn't even
man,
get to
I'm
go on
gonna
my
stay
government
myself.
rant.
Hey,
Damn
listen,
it.
Two things. Again, best wishes to Johnny. I hope he recovers quickly.
We're gonna make sure he's taken care
And
of.
hey, also, man,
He'll be
Frank-
back better than ever.
Frank, keep your head up, man. Learn from this.
Yeah.
And
Every ref
and
learn
every
from
every
this.
ref
Every
learn
ref
from
learn
this, and we'll move forward. But hey, before we get out of here, before we move to the next part, this next segment, UFC 43 San Antonio, is brought to you by Howlerhead Whiskey.
Howlerhead whiskey. Get
Speaking
that
of
monkey
UFC
spirit in
San
ya.
Antonio, Frank was judging.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
got the Holly Holm fight right. You know, so I
Yes.
mean,
Listen,
no controversy there.
I'm
I was
done.
waiting for the crowd to boo whenever they said his name.
Moving on to the next part, guys.
Bro, no, hold on. But that's just another thing. Like, do you not think that the state should have pulled him? No? I don't know, man. It was so fresh
Okay.
the night before.
Personally, do I think, hey, maybe it would have been like in his best interest and in TDLR's best interest to pull him and let the heat die down or whatever. But they've already got those assignments, and you know as well as I do, whenever they've got those assignments in place, and it's like day before fight day, they're not going to go back and do whatever they have
Yeah,
to do
but
to undo some shit.
this
Everything's
was
already
something- this
the
was a
machine's
ma- this
already
was
rolling. I
major,
know.
though.
I think for them, it would have been like admitting that they were wrong.
No,
Yeah.
but it would have.
That
But it
too.
would have showed that they gave a fuck and that they were doing some sort of. We're gonna start investigating right now. You fucked up last night. We got to pull you tomorrow. You're gonna sit the shelf. Let's figure this out.
they
At
would
least
have to.
aesthetically, it would have looked good.
They didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna. This shit ain't gonna get swept under the rug.
It's not.
Like
It's not.
No.
It's not. But I'm going to sweep it under this Howlerhead bottle right now because y'all ruined that plug for Howlerhead, guys. And I got to send them these now.
Hey, man,
So
we're
make sure you
buzzing
get,
and we're on
you
a
get
we're
you
on a
guys
roll, man.
Howlerhead whiskey. Get that monkey spirit in you. It's delicious. Get you some banana
I
whiskey.
want a triple meat Whataburger.
I'm starving. Hey, first up,
I had a
Corey.
banana, I'm good.
Hey, I'm going to run through this really quickly. Not all these fights because I don't care about most of these. Corey Sandhagen defeated Marlon Vera.
Not according to everybody.
Not according to everybody. Holly Holm defeated Yana Santos. Macy Barber defeated Andrea Lee. Not according to everybody.
Yeah, that
Who
one,
judged that fight?
There was a little heat
I'm not.
there.
I'm not sure who judged that one, but they were wrong. Like Andrea Lee won.
You can't
won that
find the
fight.
judging.
I'm sure you could, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
just to be
I
honest
mean-
with you.
Rich Burmaster doesn't do Google.
No, listen. Hey,
Only
shout
for
out.
porn.
Shout out to
Only
the
for gay porn.
No. He's got subscriptions for that
Yeah.
shit, man.
You guys subscription
shout
for
out
gay
to the
porn?
OG.
He's not cheap. What do you think
to
he
the
is,
OG
man?
of OGs.
He's a porn connoisseur.
Daniel
Oh,
Pineda.
man.
Daniel Pineda.
The Pit.
Listen,
Fury FC
if
vet.
Daniel Pineda isn't in your top 5 favorite fighters to watch list,
Man.
you're stupid.
You don't
I just
know
need
what
you
you're
to know
watching,
that.
man.
You're stupid.
Yeah.
That dude is, listen, outside of the cage, those who know him, dude, he's a big teddy bear. He's fun. He's a fun-loving dude. Love to hang
he
around
is,
that
man.
guy.
I love Pitt.
And in the cage, 100% finishing rate. All of his wins are finishes. That dude is a dog of dogs. Did you hear his comments at the end?
He's
like,
a promoter's fighter.
his
man.
contract's up. He's like, if
Yeah.
the money's right, I'll come back.
Yeah, boom. Let's go.
But shout out the biggest dog on the undercard again. And a second round guillotine submission. That dude, his jiu-jitsu is nasty. Nasty. How many times have we seen him at a sub hunter come out after a few drinks? Just walk out, submit somebody really quickly, walk back and get his drink.
He
He
fucking
left.
shined at the Fight Pass Invitational.
Yes, he did. That dude is a dog, man. I love watching that guy. Hey, shout out to Steven Peterson, who announced his retirement.
Yeah.
Texas OG.
Hanging up the
They're
gloves.
Been around a long time. Always a good time with Ocho. Shout out Trevin Giles. Defeated Preston Parsons. Trevin looked good, man, at
The
170.
problem, another Fury FC vet, man. It's always good to see him in the cage.
And CJ Vergara with the comeback of the year
Hands down.
over Daniel De Silva. Listen, in the first round, is there anybody? I know each had to be.
I was freaking out, bro.
Dude, when he was running,
was running laps.
when he
No.
was running laps,
It sucks.
Hey, there's no
it
rule
sucks
that
whenever
says
it's
you
a
can't
fighter
run.
that you like. Whenever it's a fighter
Right.
you like and care about, it sucks. Whenever you know the guy
Yeah.
and you're that invested in him, it sucks
listen,
hard.
We have seen him stand in front of Jacob Silva,
Yeah.
who was for the longest time the scariest 125
Yes.
maybe in the nation to fight. And bite down on his mouthpiece,
And throw.
blood everywhere, and
And
throw.
throw.
So you know when CJ Vergara is running,
on the run,
shit's
yeah.
gone bad. You need to
Shit's
run
going
too.
down.
Listen, if you're ever out in public and CJ Vergara comes running by you in fear,
Turn and run
fucking
with him.
turn
Run
and
with
run
him.
with him.
Run with him. Yeah.
You run with CJ Vergara.
CJ Vergara is one of the toughest dudes we know.
Fuck
man.
yeah.
To see him in that spot, but then to turn it all around and come back
Dude.
and win the
Did
fucking
CJ
thing,
come
man.
to the Fury card Friday?
No, I don't think
I
he
didn't
did.
see him there, no.
He's at almost every. So I don't think he did.
A quick story. You saw Olivia met Dana?
Yes.
Yeah, so Olivia, who won our 35 belt Friday
Yeah,
night,
yeah.
she's like a
She's VP for a gym.
She's
Lifetime.
VP
Yeah.
VP for
Lifetime, right?
LA Fitness.
LA
LA
Fitness.
Fitness. So Dana went in
Sorry.
there to work out. Yeah.
Brought to you by Howler.
Dana went
That
in there to
mistake.
work out, and I guess she caught him or recognized him and took a picture with him. And
Yeah, she said he leg pressed like
He
1,100 pounds.
FaceTime Mick.
they
you said, right?
FaceTime. Yeah, I was with Mick Sunday, and they FaceTime. Mick was telling me they FaceTimed him and said, "Hey, man, this girl just won the Fury belt last night. We need to get her on Contenders." Well, then Mick looked her up, and he was like,
"Hey, whoa,
"She's
whoa,
an
whoa, whoa,
amateur.
whoa, 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 whoa,
She's
whoa.
an amateur."
She won the
man."
amateur title last night. Hold on.
Yeah, I guess Dana missed the
That's a
amateur.
cool
part.
ass moment. Though.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
listen,
sure, for
how,
sure.
How cool is this?
Dana White calling his matchmaker to say, "Hey, we need to sign this girl."
How about this?
Fuck,
Not
dude.
only saying that, like, hey, shout out to Olivia. She looked fucking phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
So,
She's a beast. I
how-
look forward to watching her grow.
Aphrodite looked fucking like she was smiling.
Yes.
Throwing like that was
She
a
was
great
a-
fight.
I mean,
Beast.
she slipped.
she slipped.
And
Yeah,
got a back
yeah,
take
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Barely hopped right on it.
And she was like right in there for most of the fight.
So
So,
good,
I mean,
man. We're bringing her
I look
back.
forward to
But
watching her running
how
back
cool
too,
is
man.
it now, you would 3 years ago we wouldn't have said this. Dana FaceTimes Mick to say this girl just won the Fury belt. What does that mean?
I don't know, man. How cool
Did
What
you
does
see,
that mean,
did
man?
you see
How
the
cool is that,
post-fight
man?
press conference?
Yes, he brought it up.
He
during
brought
the
it up
press
again.
conference.
He's like, this girl won the belt at Fury last.
Beerly, dude, that's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's so
Shout out,
awesome.
man.
Congratulations to Beerly. Hey, shout out to Michael White.
Shout out to Dana White.
Michael White and Dana White.
Yeah,
Dana
shout out to
White.
Michael White. Michael White won a fucking belt, man. I love Dana, but come on, Michael
Micah,
White.
too.
Yeah, dude, he's
That's
another
Michael
fighter.
White's uncle, Dana White.
Yeah, probably. Distant cousin.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Howlerhead Whiskey.
Yeah.
This is Family Tree. This
All right,
Drunken
so that's-
Family Tree.
that's
but no,
all
dude,
that-
Michael White's got a bright future ahead of him too, man.
I expect him to turn pro this year. That should have been it for him. I need to talk to them.
I
The
think so,
hardest-
and I was
the
going to
hardest
ask
thing for
you
him
like
is
about
just
Beerly.
size,
Do you
man.
think Beerly needs to defend the belt a
She's
couple
going
of
pro.
times, or is she going pro
She's
now?
gonna go pro.
Yeah, awesome. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, she's going pro.
All right, so then that brought us to our Challenger Series number 3 on Sunday. Michael Aswell, main event. First main event for Michael Aswell. You know he already brings a packed house. It's cool to be a guy who's used to the big crowds. Like, he's not going to get fazed by walking out here and everybody
Yeah.
screaming, cheering, booing.
Right, no.
Walks out and takes on Austin Lutchen, who I have been trying to sign Austin Lutchen, get him with us for a while. I've been talking with Eric. I'm like, dude, we try to get this guy.
Funky Bird.
Eric tried to get him. We
Funky Bird.
Finally get the Funky Bird, and what a scrap! That was a fun fight.
Yeah, man, that was a really fun fight to watch, man.
But now Michael Aswell, for all those who used to talk about how he hadn't beaten anybody, and the dude, he just beat our former champ, and he beat Austin Lutchen. Like, the dude is on a roll. He's a savage. Congratulations to Michael Aswell.
7-0.
The Texas
How about
kid, he's on the fast track.
the man, Justice Torres, once again coming out, getting the finish.
Man, I love watching that dude fight, man.
Man, I hope Talavera, like his knee, I hope
I
recovers
checked
quickly.
on him yesterday. He said it was doing good.
Did you see the moment afterwards where his kid hugged
Once I hugged
Talavera?
Talavera, yeah, I saw
That's
that,
so
man. That's
cool,
cool,
man. Shout out to Keegan Agnew, defeated Hector Sainz. Tough fight back and forth.
Keegan's tough.
Keegan
too,
is
man.
the biggest 155er I've seen in years. He is massive.
Yeah.
He almost didn't get to fight. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if we should tell him the story.
Hey,
At
if
least.
we shouldn't tell it, I think we should tell it.
Yeah. I mean, so he apparently he had stitches like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and the cut opened up like last week.
Ooh.
So you can see, it was closed, but it was raw. So he comes in and I guess all the doctors were at the UFC on Saturday, so there was no pre-fight medical on Saturday. They did it on Sunday. So the first time the doctor sees him is Sunday. Well, Keegan's got makeup on his face, and it's
Yeah.
under. So he comes down. He's like, "Dude, they're not gonna let me fight." I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, I had this open up, but it's not even open. It's not bleeding or nothing."
Yeah.
But it's raw. So I was like, man, let me go figure out what's going on. So I went and talked to the doctor, and I was like, dude, I mean, obviously he's going to get punched. It might open up. What's the worst that happens? I mean, if it's going to be something that's going to affect him and it's a super bad safety
Right.
issue and he
It's
can't
below
fight.
it's below the eye, so it's not going to impede his vision.
He's like, well, I mean, it's going to open up. He's going to need to get sutured. I was like, well, we pay for suture.
Right. We're going to
anyways.
pay to stitch it up anyway.
So he was like, okay, well, if he's cool with it, as long as he knows, like, he's probably going to open up.
Yeah.
I don't think it opened up.
I don't remember it. Yeah.
It didn't.
I don't
It just
recall
didn't
all
go.
that concern for it, and it didn't open up.
So it didn't open up, and the doctor did mention that. He's like, it's not above the eye, it's under the eye, so he should be fine. But if it starts impairing his vision,
Hey,
then,
shout out to Doc. I don't want to throw
if he starts fighting upside
yeah,
down.
shout out to the doc, man.
Yeah. Jose Lemus, man, Gabby Echeverry looked good.
Gabby's
That's-
finally back after
that's-
how long of a
that's-
layoff?
Golly,
Great
man.
return.
He's a
Yeah.
fighter I love watching, but I feel like we don't get to see him nearly enough,
2
man.
years, man.
He's so fun.
Gabby the Glory.
He's so fun to watch in
Yeah,
there, man.
man.
Talk about guys fun. I'm excited to see come back, dude. Riley Melanson, after like a vicious fight with Carlos Jimenez, man. They had a dog fight.
Howler head potty.
We got a howler head potty break going on there for Wayne. Came back and finished Gino Shebda with that quick jab.
That was fast.
It was so fast.
You could see how disappointed Gino was.
Gino didn't get to start
He's
fighting.
like, dude, man, I didn't get to get off. And we were going to put him on Denver if he came out of this. I think he came out unscathed, but
He did. We still need to talk to him and see if he still wants
yeah, I
to do
talked
it
to
or
him a
not.
little bit. He's like, man, I don't know if my schedule's going to hold up for Denver.
So then, man, like great performance from here from the night. Justin Longoria and Daniel Pete. What a fight.
Yeah, that was a dogfight.
Like-
a lot of blood.
Longoria's got some power at 25, man. His first punch that he landed on Pete broke his nose.
That kid's uncle. So I'm trying to remember right now what his older brother's name is. They used to train with Saul Matthew. So he had a. Can you look up Matthew Longoria?
Yeah.
So he has a brother named Matthew Longoria that fought for me years ago. Used to pack the house. Saul used to call me and say, "Man, this kid's talented. He's gonna pack the house. He's got a lot of fans."
2-1. His last fight was Fury FC 4, 2015.
2015
Against Clarence Brown.
Yes. So he disappeared, but this Longoria kid just popped up.
Son of a
His
bitch.
brother. Who do you fight?
He beat one of my guys, Donovan Carrasco, back in 2000,
Are these all Fury?
2014. This is Bayou Brawl. You didn't want to.
Louisiana?
You didn't want to guess on the card then. No, so that was actually.
That's when you were fucking around back then. Huh?
Yeah, probably so. Probably so.
That's in Louisiana?
I think
Bayou
if
Brawl.
if I'm correct, no, Bayou Brawl was Donovan's first fight, which was Lou Savarises at the Bayou Event Center.
Oh, okay. And he fought Longoria?
Yeah, he fought Longoria. Did really
Brawl.
well. And
What
then
happened to that
he got
promotion?
Triangled in the second round. It's Lou Savarises. He didn't want to do it anymore.
He said, the hell with that.
Yeah, he said, I don't. You get promoting's hard.
Yeah, nobody wants to do hard shit.
Nobody wants to do hard shit these days.
Do hard shit these days.
Man, shout out to Daniel Pete though.
Yeah.
He went through some drama during that fight. You know, and there was a moment. I don't know if you saw. So in between second and third round, Alex Morano talks to Joe Solis and says, "Hey man, you got to watch him. His nose is broken. Just please." So the doctor came in, looked at him, goes, "All right, we're gonna let him go." Alex Morano hopped up on the cage. I verified today. It was a little bit off. He looks like I heard him. I thought I heard him say stop the fight, but he hopped up onto the catwalk, was trying to get Joe's attention, and Daniel Pete looked up at him and went no. And Alex Morano got back down,
Finish corner.
and let this dude keep fighting. Like, so shout out to Daniel Pete, because he could have very well like gotten out of that moment, and he said no. He thought he could still win that fight at that moment.
And the broken nose.
Broken nose. Dog. Say, Dusty Little and Jonathan Davis. How about the return of J-Boy? Didn't think it was going great at first.
Another fighter that I love to watch, but I feel like we haven't seen him in a long time. We don't get to
2
see him
years.
nearly enough, man.
2 years.
Even if he did snub me on my fist bump whenever he was circling the cage before the fight, that motherfucker.
He did.
But hey, he's in the zone. He's in the moment. He's in the moment. So I totally fucking get it. But dude, it was good to see him back in the cage and pick up the win. I love me some gentleman J-Boy Davis.
Hey, look.
Gentleman Jack, you were
it
about
didn't
to say.
It didn't.
No,
it didn't start off.
never.
It didn't start off great.
No, he got
no,
dropped.
it didn't. I
He
was
got put in
surprised to see
triangle.
that.
And then he got flying triangled first, and then he got out of that. Then he got it, but persevered. That's a good fight to come back to.
Yeah.
He came back. He had some bad moments in it.
Little was
and-
what,
yeah.
3-2?
Something like that, yeah. And then came back, and J-Boy was able to
I don't have my
secure
notes.
that
5 fights.
quick heel hook. We had some amateur fights. The All-Star baby,
Dude.
Josh
no bias
Aliman.
there. The Aliman.
Listen.
The All-Star Aliman.
Listen, Josh Aliman defeated Arlton Audrey, and he Arlton Audrey'd Arlton Audrey.
That's crazy, man.
Shocker.
You know what's crazy is that he said he was going to do that.
Yeah.
He was like, nobody's even seen my wrestling.
Nobody has stuffed
I'm probably
Arlton
the only guy he
Audrey's
can't take down.
attempts at the takedown like Aliman did. Like to see him, like Rich said,
Bro.
he Arlton Audrey.
So I counted the takedown attempts. Josh got 9 takedowns on Arlton. Arlton got 0.
None.
There was one cool ass thing where he went for a flying knee and he like jumped over him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, man,
He,
this
he
athletic
looked like
little
a running back or something in the NFL. Did he like leapfrog
And then he
him?
turns around and
He
gets right
almost
back in
cleared
the
him. Like
fight.
99%. He had it cleared. But yeah, man, like every takedown that Arlton went for, Aliman stuffed him or
And, like,
got out of the way or whatever, man.
I've
Like,
never,
it was incredible to watch.
grappled with Arlton or anything, but just looking at him, he looks strong as shit.
I knew that was going to be a problem
You know?
for him, though. I knew
Like
that
his strength.
Aliman was going to be. Well, no. I knew that Aliman was going to be a problem for Arlton. The takedowns
I'd like to see
that he likes to go for. I knew that it wasn't going to be what he was used to.
So
Shake your head at me, motherfucker.
Audrey was the 155 champ. Gave up. He never lost that belt. Came down to
Missed
fight. He missed weight. To his credit, listen, it's amateurs. If it had been a pro, we wouldn't have let it happen. He missed weight by 7 pounds. And so we just told him, come in the next day at 165. And
he came in at 160.
I know he did. He walked up to me during the rules meeting and said, "Hey, do you want to go weigh me right now?" And I said, "Nope, just you walking up and telling me he's good enough for me." Like what am I gonna do? Stop the fight? Then I'm gonna let him fight no matter what.
He
it was.
came in at 59. Christy had the scale.
Son of a bitch. So the hard thing for Aliman is that my wife Samantha is the other coach out there with me, outside of Sigid and Vic and Roll, and
2 coaches.
Hey, you only get two. You only get two.
She's very, very hard on the fighters when it comes to like their hands. She did boxing, Gold Glove boxer and stuff, and she's very hard on them when it comes to their hands about like how they look, what they're doing. And like she was right on Josh, man, you didn't let your hands go. And Josh is like, this dude's trying to take me down every 5 seconds. Like every time he tried to throw something, Arlton pressed him up against the cage.
Yeah.
But this was the fight I've been telling everybody this whole time. And I get it. I'm super biased. He's my dude. I understand that. But this dude is the best athlete I've ever worked with. He's the best athlete, I think, in Texas when it comes to MMA. I don't think there's a better athlete than him. The dude's a All-American track and field, All-American rugby. Oh, yeah, by the way, the dude was a state guy for wrestling as well. In his only 2 seasons wrestling. His first 3 fights, he finished everybody in the first round, so you didn't see any wrestling.
Yeah.
And so going into this fight, we knew that Arlton was going to Arlton. So the entire camp, all we really focused on was being with our back against the cage, working off the cage, and then taking him down.
You look good, man.
And I think Josh came over to you afterwards, like, I'm sorry about my performance. Because Josh wants to knock everybody out. Like, he thinks that's the guy he
heard
needs to
that.
be.
But, but that wasn't
I'm like, what?
But there's a difference in boring wrestling and that kind of
That was
wrestling.
fun.
Yeah, man.
That's fun.
Yes.
That back and forth shit is fun.
Back and
Like,
forth
So now-
stuff is really fun to watch.
I love to see a guy try and take somebody down. They stuff it, then they take him down.
Yeah. So
Dude,
now I've got to figure out what to. There. I mean, he's an amateur. There's some holes. Do we
go pro.
do we?
He
yeah.
could have cleared
we
the
go pro.
jump. He could have cleared the jump 100%, but he didn't.
Dude, he's
We go pro.
We got to work on his
he's
leapfrog
such a
hurdling
freak.
ability.
Did you see? I'm telling you, the craziest moment for me, there was that where he jumped over him. There was a moment where Arlton just about has this reversal on the takedown, and Josh, with one hand, puts his hand into his hip and basically just shoves Arlton over. And Josh is leaning back and just pushes him over. And I asked him later, I said, dude, how strong did Arlton feel? He's like, didn't feel strong at all, coach. He's like, that's nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because we all know how
Yeah.
that's not he's super strong.
How heavy and how strong he is.
Alton's
Yeah.
a killer, man.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that
I'm
dude ain't
is.
nobody to fuck with.
no,
No.
I'm excited to see the future for both of those guys. I think Arlton. This is the
That's
first
thing,
time.
and they're amateurs, man.
This is the first time
God
somebody-
damn,
Bright
the,
future.
the,
This is the
the
first time
pro
Arlton's
side
had-
was so promising.
I don't think anybody's ever really ever taken him down beside Lester, and he won that fight. So I'm hoping he changes some stuff and gets in there. And now that happened, Jared Gallegos, man, Hayden Bryars, it didn't pick up the 135 title, picked up the victory, but not the title
Did
because
you
of the
think
weight.
that was an early stoppage?
I did.
I did.
I did too.
He was going for an arm bar.
I mean, it's not Hayden's fault. Hayden did his thing.
Yeah, Hayden did this thing.
Dropped
Yeah,
him.
shout out.
Whatever, but I mean, it was a title fight. It was 5 rounds. I know it's amateur, but they should have let that.
He
kid
was
fight,
going
man.
for an
Like,
arm bar whenever the ref stepped in to stop it. I mean, again, it's amateur and it was justifiable. He was taking some strikes, but I mean, how bad was it?
He was moving.
He was
And
moving.
you can tell.
He was attempting an arm bar. He was like going for an arm bar. He had control of the arm. So
I would have liked to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
fight.
man, if
I
we
would have
could've-
liked to see that fight go into round 4, round
that
5.
would have been great, man. I would have
Yeah,
loved
was
it.
that was a first round stoppage?
it wouldn't have helped us on time, but
Yeah, but it did definitely help us on time because we were running behind.
Chris Castillo got smoked by Joe Hendershot. I love you, Chris.
I love both of those guys. It's one of those
Yeah.
where I love watching a lot of our fights, but it's whenever you have two fighters that you love watching.
Yeah.
You're like, oh damn, somebody's got to lose. I don't want to see
Hey,
it.
shout out to Chris. He got out wrestled by brilliant
Joe
game plan from
Hendershot's a
Joe
fucking
Hendershot.
beast, man.
The
Hey,
few moments.
props to Chris for taking the fight and going in there and doing
Hey,
it.
the few moments that they were on the feet, Chris let his hands go, his land.
Yes,
I got
he
some
was.
cool picture. I was like, all
Yeah,
right,
man.
Chris, check you out.
Hell yeah.
But
Sam had to be proud, right?
oh, she was for sure. She actually really was. So
She wasn't.
I think
She wasn't.
Joe Hendershot could be next in line in that path to the 145 title.
Yeah, man. I'd like to see it. Gracie Baja
see-
Woodlands prospect.
See who he gets matched up with there. Let's see. Gage Harper defeated Derek Pierce. Congratulations to Gage.
Gage Harper trying to get us canceled with the Indian headdress and everything,
What
dude.
was
Like,
that about?
Hey, man.
Is he Indian?
Trying to get us canceled.
I don't. me
the
and
fuck are we trying?
hey, me and Rex had jokes in the cage, man. It playfully, in love, man. It's like, dude, this guy's as Native American as Elizabeth Warren. Why is he wearing this headdress?
Maybe he is. Who knows? I don't know.
Hey, maybe I am too.
You're
and I am, but come on, man.
Pretty pale to be coming out there, pale face.
Yes, the blonde hair and the music and very very. But hey, props to him and his heritage. He came out. Maybe someone gave him that to wear. Who knows?
I dig it.
I'm having a little fun with Gage Harper because I love him and he's a good fighter and there's
Hey, I tell you what,
a great future for Gage Harper.
the dude that he fought, what's his name with one punch?
He beat what's his name? God damn.
I mean, he broke that kid's nose with the first punch he threw on the when he made his debut.
I don't think he threw any punches against
This
Gage.
time, like, it was a totally different story.
Yeah.
Noah
Gage had no
Noah
fear.
Beatty fell short against Spencer Sled. That was a fun scrap. Noah Beatty, in the moments that it was on his feet, was lighting Spencer up, man.
Man, Noah's talented, man.
He's super talented on his feet. Super talented. But Spencer Sled now moves to 3-0, undefeated. If they didn't train together, man, Spencer Sled and Joe Hendershot would be a fun fight.
Yeah.
But War and GB can't be doing that.
I was gonna say, like, what is there like a unwritten code like War and Gracie Baja?
They
Like,
cross train.
Yeah, War,
They go
Gracie.
train.
they don't go
So-
to war with each other.
So like War is kind of the center, and so like I'm an affiliate of War,
Yeah.
And Morano and his guys cross train at War, so I can fight Morano's guys, but War won't fight them, and I'm not going to fight War. We're
So
affiliates.
political. I feel like we're back in the pro
it's
wrestling world
weird.
now, man.
Jeremy De Leon fell short against Martin Pineda. Martin Pineda looked good, dude. Like both guys looked good. That was one I did think was an early stoppage. A standing TKO when he wasn't even being hit in that moment. Jeremy went to lean his back against the cage, and the cage wasn't as close to him as he thought it was. And it looked kind of shitty. Like, it did look bad. Like, you did it to yourself, fool.
Yeah. I felt bad for that one, man.
Yeah, up until that point, your mom's new boyfriend and Martin Pineda, it was fun scrap back and forth. The big guys, neither of them got tired. If you listen to the commentary, they were both waiting for these big guys. No, man, these guys both trained their butts off, man. So shout out to both those guys. Congrats to Martin Pineda.
Mom's new boyfriend.
Mom's new boyfriend. Best nickname in the game.
She
I
dumped
was working
him
on my
now.
delivery for that one, and I could tell he took it in. He looked like Conor McGregor.
Oh, he loves that
in the
shit,
center
dude.
of the cage. He had the arms extended and
He
everything.
loves those moments, man.
Unrehearsed, but it turned out great.
Xavier Key fell short against Josh Thomas. 3-0 now for Josh Thomas. Another guy at 145 who could get in title
We got some
contention.
decent Amis coming up, man.
Yeah, man. Xavier Key.
All
dude, I
those
look forward to him coming back, man.
all those featherweights are gonna fill those voids when we lose these other ones.
Donovan Manuel defeated Chris Baker.
Young, rich, and handsome. I didn't know that
Carlos-
was his nickname, but apparently that's what it
Donovan?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Carlos Zapata took advantage of a terrible mistake from Murat. Murat turned to look at Joe
Oh,
Solis like, I'm
goddamn.
fine.
Got punched.
Dude, don't
And
do that.
got cracked.
Don't turn your head to the ref in the middle of exchanges and be like, "Hey, it's okay. I'm all right."
He was laughing though.
Yeah.
He was until he got cracked by that one.
Until
yeah.
he got dropped, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Then it was over. Hey, he was all right until he wasn't, and it was like shortly after he was telling Joe, just don't talk to the
And
ref.
then, hey, congratulations, Thomas Muniz picking up his first victory, man. Moves to 1-2, and he looked great against Carlos Escobar. Very happy there for Thomas. I know he's been working his butt off there.
Thomas Muniz.
I think we need to make that Thomas Muniz Chris Castillo fight. Let those two dudes go out there and
Thomas
scratch
Muniz, Laz Garcia.
Ooh.
Hey, they've already scratched. Hey,
Where-
listen.
where was Laz?
Listen,
last,
I've got Laz
Sunday?
Garcia ready to go.
Nah.
He doesn't have the Eric Garcia stamp of approval.
El
but
Baracho Burro.
I'm not allowed. We're not allowed to call him that anymore. Pops did not like that. Pops did not like that, and out of
What?
respect, we're gonna change his name.
Aw, man.
Yeah, Bracho Burrow was
We're
great
gonna
though. Right?
we're gonna exchange his name to Hoto One. So if my mom and dad are listening,
You're trying to get us canceled,
they
man.
know who
Stop.
Hoto One is.
We're gonna get canceled by the
It's
the
funny. My
gay
uncle,
Hispanic community.
my uncle Paul used to have a friend like back when I was younger. I was young and he was probably in his 20s. He had a friend named Hoto One that used to come over. Is that really his name? Yeah, that's Hoto One.
That's hilarious.
No.
Lazarus, Hoto One.
Hey, so we've got
It was Hoto Juan.
There's some 135ers on this Challenger Series 4. He could hop in there. I'm just saying.
Challenger Series 4. When are we running Challenger
Yeah.
Series 4?
Eduardo Gonzalez on Main Street. You can find
May
Martin Pineda.
21st.
Martin said, go ahead and put Murat in right here.
And what about this one right here? Look, we're making fights as we go
Go
right
ahead
here.
and put Murat Turley Bakal.
Marat versus Rich Burmaster's all over the page. I can't see that name. Gonzalez. Was it Gonzalez?
Where you
I'm
at?
trying to break news on the amateur side of things.
Marat Turley Bilikov.
1-1.
Marat Terlibakov.
That's what we do. We make fights during the podcast.
This is it.
He was
Every
on
time
a
y'all
bunch
see
of
me
our
pick up my
submission
phone,
hunter
go.
cards. That's the only reason I knew how to pronounce
I
his
know
name.
he's gonna. I know he's gonna want to come back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ain't going out.
He's
like
he's
that.
one of Victor Posas's guys, man.
Yeah,
he's
he's coming
from the
back.
dark side. He's a badass.
I don't think Martin Pineda makes.
85?
that,
Not right now.
that was going to be
No,
a learning
no.
experience for
I mean,
Marat.
he came
dude.
in heavier than Jeremy. He was what?
209.
And Jeremy
208.
1 pound.
Yeah.
We got a 205, or he could probably fight them. I don't see one though.
And maybe one of these guys will bump up 205. Carlos Zapata.
We're just going to do some random matchmaking,
Yeah,
here off to the
just
side.
have Hey,
we're
so we've
almost.
only
We
got-
had
we've
105
only
minutes
got-
of record
we've
time. We're
only got
getting
a
to the
few
end of
minutes
that.
left
Yeah,
on
we're
the,
just about done anyway.
On the devices here. Hey, a quick rundown of what we got coming up. We got 4-7. We got Submission Hunter Pro Dallas.
April 7th, Dallas, Texas, baby.
416.
Hey, what venue were you running?
Dallas,
Yeah.
Duncanville.
God damn it.
416. We go to Denver, Colorado.
looking forward to that one. I need to get with some people. We're going to need at least a couple of tickets set aside for our for our brewery buddies. At least 2, probably 4.
They need to host some ceremonial weigh-ins and tell Erica.
I'm sure that would not be a problem at all. I speak on behalf of Odyssey Beer Works when I say we confirm we got the weigh-ins done. Let's go.
Fucking hates doing those.
Hey, doing ceremonials?
Yeah. 423.
Hey man, best beer in Denver on tap right there
They
for
got
you, man.
Michelob Ultra?
Yeah, they got you. We'll grab it.
Listen, you can't sell me on a beer joint because anytime Rich takes me to one of those and they got all these weird beers I've never heard of,
I know.
What are those hops?
I don't drink
They're
that
hops.
shit, right?
What is this? That's called flavor, bitch.
Oh
That's what that
man,
is.
Papadella.
Hey,
and all
Hey,
that bullshit.
416.
you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
423. We return back here to H-Town. Then we got what? 430 Submission Hunter Pro.
April
Kids
30th,
and
Submission
Teens.
Hunter Pro.
Houston 5-7.
That's
we
May
go out
7th.
to Tulsa, Oklahoma. What's after that?
515.
What's 515? Sub Hunter, right?
Sub Hunter, yeah, here.
Sub Hunter somewhere.
Houston.
And then 521.
I love
Challenger.
Houston.
Fury Challenger back in Houston. 6-4. We go to.
Nola.
2 days
Nola.
before Ashton's 15th birthday. I don't know if I can make that one.
It's going to be another busy summer.
Hell yeah.
Another busy year coming up. But, man, we're making strides, and it's great to see. And it feels like every show is our best show. It's crazy.
It's
It's a
fun
great
to
card
see.
in San Antonio.
Yeah.
We
It's a really
feel
good
the
card.
love.
About
There's
the
a lot
venue.
of love.
The venue was amazing.
About the venue in San Antonio.
Oh
venue
yeah,
was
man!
dope.
I wanted to touch on that while we were talking about that San Antonio card, man. The Boeing Center at Techport is off the charts, man. Just like for the vibe,
Bro.
the feel, and man,
I
you
think
know, we packed the house for our first show out there. I would say we did damn good. There weren't very many empty seats in the house.
Can you imagine if we would have had like Eddie on the card too?
Oh man, dude!
Put a little Eddie on.
Next time we're gonna have Eddie Fryray in the mix.
Tiago Macedo.
Oh, dude.
Like there wouldn't have been no seats had those two dudes been
No.
in there with the guys that were on there.
But hey, there weren't very many Southside San Antonio people there. Whenever I threw that out there for Zach Borrego, man, usually the place erupts. Apparently, you know, like
He did really well.
I guess he did.
But maybe
I'm
they
talking
weren't
about-
from Southside.
That's what I'm saying. Usually, like at Cowboys, there's a lot of Southside folks there. We get a pop
Man,
whenever
look,
I say
hey.
Southside. That didn't happen, but that's fine. Show up next time at the Boeing Center at
was
Techport.
San Antonio has always been a great second home.
Home, away from home,
for
yeah,
Fury
man.
FC.
I love San Antonio,
It continues to be, and man, the talent out there is growing all the time. So I'm glad this double weekend is over.
Me too.
Boys.
Me too.
I'm
headed to Mexico.
I'm not headed to Mexico.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm
but
outta
I'm working
here.
on my
Did you
passport
get that-
situation.
did you get that invite?
I
I
didn't,
didn't-
but I've got one
I
from
didn't get
May, so I'm working
He don't
on.
have he don't have a passport.
There's one in May.
Yeah, there's
I
one
didn't
in
get that
May.
invite either.
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
invite him.
Nobody.
well,
Tara invited.
you're
Nobody-
too white. You got to be able to
nobody-
tan well.
nobody
You'll,
asked
you'll
me.
burn in Mexico.
Listen.
He's looking out for you.
Every time we invite Rich, he don't go.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, Rich
If it's
Burmaster.
not Vegas and UFC, he don't go.
Hey, listen.
Rich
it's
ain't going to the
super-
beach.
Y'all need to,
He
y'all
is
need to
super
go
fucking
the,
busy, man.
Y'all need to go the route of Mick and Andrea Maynard. At this point, they don't even invite me to shit because if I show up, I show up. If otherwise they invite me, then I'm not coming. Super unlikely I'm going to come. Yeah, everybody lives so far. So far, and we travel all the time.
I know we're in like me and Wayne live the closest to each other.
Everybody else, we're an hour
Everybody
away.
else is like
At least an
Yeah.
hour away from everybody.
yeah.
All right,
So
man.
we're gonna need you guys to start traveling like to our spot, like our house, like one of.
Hey, I think the podcast at my house is a great idea.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Let's
It's
go.
just as far for me to go there as it is to go here.
And we're
so,
doing the next one out there.
in the man cave.
Yeah.
All right, Bulldogs. I'll bring another Bulldog.
And then we can watch.
But hey, but
do it
Diego,
back here.
Diego's gonna have to be there because we can never set all this stuff
R.I.P.
up on our own.
Hopefully, we'll see Diego.
Yeah.
We'll see Diego.
Let's put the RIP.
Rest in peace, baby.
Oh.
He's dead to me now.
Yeah, Diego apparently passed away. That's why he's not with us
All
today.
right, it's time to eat.
Let's go
time
grab
to eat.
something to eat, man.
Whataburger.
Hey guys,
Brother.
the time for
Whataburger.
talk is
Whataburger.
over. This has been Fury Unleashed.
Holla ahead, baby.